அது இந்த வீட்ல உள்ளவங்களோடதா இல்ல அந்த வீட்ல உள்ளவங்களோடதா? தூங்கிட்டாளா பாருங்க அதான்.
Hello. First things first, guys, can you hear me? Okay.
Yeah, we
Yes.
can hear you.
Hello,
Yes.
Debashish. Oh, Debanshu. I don't know.
Yes, you can call me Deb if that's easier for you.
Okay. Yeah, we can hear you.
We can hear
Okay.
you. Dev. Yeah.
Perfect. Perfect. Thank you so much. I think people will continue to join and I will continue to admit them. Apologies for that. I'll have to keep checking the waiting room and admit all of you guys. But I think it's time to start. So can you see my screen?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, wonderful, wonderful. All right. So good morning, good evening, and namaskar to all the wonderful participants. My name is Devanshu Mukherjee, and I welcome you again to this introductory session on BW4HANA. Firstly, thank you so much for taking some time out of your weekend. I know we all know weekends are very important to all of us. So thank you for taking time out of your weekend to attend this introductory session with me. Well, BW4HANA is SAP's next generation data warehousing software, which is simple, open, fast, and comes with a brand new and contemporary interface. Well, today we'll talk a lot about BW4HANA. We will also see it in action as a quick demo in the system, and also we'll try to answer your questions at the end. So without any further ado, let's get started. All right. So before we jump into the details of BW4HANA, let's see the agenda for a quick minute, and then I'll tell you about myself, and then we'll go from there. Okay, so first we will look at the basic definition and information about BW4HANA. Because many of you are already seasoned consultants, many of you have good experience in BW4HANA, but there might be some of us for whom it's a new topic, or they are just getting introduced to BW4HANA. So that's why we will quickly look at some basic definition and information so that everybody is on the same page. Then we will move on to see the frequently asked questions. So the most common questions which are floating around in in forums, in SAP community, on the LinkedIn. So we'll try to answer the most frequently asked questions. Then I will jump into the system to show you the demo for BW4HANA 2.0. Then we will see the course structure and the details around the course. And then finally, at the end, we will look at the questions you guys have. So I'll try to make this session as interactive as possible, but I would request you to hold on to your questions till the end. Why? Because of two reasons. First, we only have 1 hour. So I would like to cover the content first and then answer your questions so that in the interest of time, we can finish this in 1 hour. So my apologies if I'm not answering your questions in between. Please keep a note of your questions. I will definitely try to answer as many as the time permits at the end. All right, so with that, quickly, a little bit about myself. I am primarily an SAP BW consultant with 14 plus years of industry experience. And I have completed 8 implementations, end-to-end implementations in BW. I also have around 6+ years of HANA experience, and that covers different flavors of HANA, BW on HANA, BW for HANA, and also native HANA. So I've completed around 5 implementations there. I also have good experience in the BPC world, BPC and BW integrated planning, which is now called BPC for HANA in BW for HANA 2.0. So I completed 4 implementations there, around 4 years of experience there. And then recently, a year back, I also got a chance to work on SAP Analytics Cloud. So it's a new tool. So I don't have much experience. I just have 1 year of experience. We recently completed the second implementation. So that's what I got a chance to work on. So in a nutshell, that's my profile. And now, if you want to connect with me, you can connect with me on LinkedIn. Many of you are already connected. Those of you who are not connected, if you want, you can connect with me on LinkedIn. Or you can also, subscribe to my YouTube channel. I have a YouTube channel where I frequently post videos on different topics related to BW or HANA, or sometimes even BW IP as well. So you can subscribe to my channel. I have various playlists on YouTube. Like I have the tidbits, BW4HANA tidbits, where I share, every once in a week or once in 2 weeks, I share a video. And then also I have a playlist dedicated for advanced DSO. So wherever the topic needs more explanation and more videos than just one video, I put basically the entire playlist dedicated to that. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yes.
someone messaged that voice not audible. Okay, so maybe just for a second there, my mic got disconnected. So that might be the reason. So good to know that I'm still audible. Okay, so that's a little bit about me. Now let's jump on to the definitions and the frequently asked questions. All right. Okay, so first let's answer the very basic question. What is BW4HANA? So BW4HANA is SAP's proprietary data warehousing software. And it's a new product. It is not a successor for previous BW versions. That's a very important point you should keep in mind. It is completely new product, and that's why the versioning is also new. It starts with 1.0, 2.0, so on and so forth. It does not continue the previous versioning, which is 7.3, 7.4, 7.5, etc. So it's a completely new product. It only runs on HANA. It cannot run on any other database. That's why it's called BW4HANA. So it is only for HANA as a database. Now, if you look at the journey here in the screenshot, this is the journey for BW with respect to HANA. So when HANA was first introduced in 2011, BW version on HANA was launched in 2012. That was called Project Orange. And I was a part of that project in a small way. I was with SAP. So I was working with SAP Global Delivery that time. And fortunately, I was one of the first ones in the world to get certified as well, because I was with SAP and in that project, Project Orange. So it was launched in 2012. First version was 7.3. Now, you will see here the naming convention used is powered by HANA. Many of us get confused. What is the difference between on HANA and powered by HANA? So just the naming terminology is interchangeable, but it is one and the same thing. So if somebody says BW on HANA, or if somebody says BW powered by HANA, it's one and the same thing. So BW 7.3 on SAP HANA was launched in 2012. And then we also got 7.4, which was powered by SAP HANA. And then we moved on to 7.5 powered by SAP HANA, or you can also say 7.5 on HANA, and it stopped there. There is no version called 7.6. It stopped, the BW on HANA stopped on 7.5. Of course, different service packs were released. Service pack 4, 5, 6, 7, I think till maybe 18, 19, 20. I'm not sure what is the latest, but it went beyond 15. I'm sure about that. And after that, SAP released BW4HANA. So then you will ask me, what is this last part, which says 7.5 edition for SAP HANA? Well, that is a prerequisite to go to BW4HANA. So if you are on 7.4 or 7.3 or 7.5, you have to install an add-on. And that add-on is called BW 7.5 edition for SAP HANA. It's just a small software which you have to download and install on your BW. only when you install this software, you are ready to move to BW4HANA. That means the migration. You can do the migration only when you install this add-on. So this is not a full-fledged version of BW, but it is just a simple add-on in order for you to be ready or make technically ready for BW4HANA. And in 2016, this was released. To be exact, I think in sometime in September 2016, BW4HANA 1.0 was released. Today, the latest version is BW4HANA 2.0 SP5. So that's where we are. So this is the journey with respect to HANA for BW. But BW was there well before HANA was launched. BW was there. And this is the entire journey of BW till BW4HANA. So it started in 1998 with 1.0. Then we moved on to 1.2 in 1999. 2.x 2000, 3.x 2001. So you can see till 3.x, it's very frequent. Every year, a new version was launched. Why? Because it was new in the market and SAP was, improving it or enhancing it very fast. In 3.x, it became fairly stable. And then it moved on to 7.x. And in 7.x, also it was fairly stable for some time. 7.x was the version which introduced InfoCube and other things. DTP, InfoCube, the new objects were introduced. So this was called a major release. 7.x was a major release. Actually, InfoCube was already there, but new technologies like DTPs and other things came into picture. Transformations were introduced in 7.x. So there were some new, completely new objects which were introduced. So that's why it was a very important release. And then with the introduction of HANA in 2012, as we saw, the BW 7.3 on HANA was introduced. And from there, it went on 13, 15, and 16, BW4HANA was introduced. So 25th February 2019 is when 2.0 was introduced. So this is the entire journey of BW. All right. Now, I have been talking about BW a lot, but some of you might, still wonder what is exactly BW. Okay, it's a data warehousing software from SAP, but what is a data warehouse, and how is it different from a transactional system such as ECC or S4? So let's quickly look at the definition. So, what is a data warehousing software, and what is a transactional software? Well, transactional software, also known as OLTP, online transactional processing, is, you can say, a developer. Okay, so if I have to compare this from something which we see on a daily basis, I can say that transactional system is a developer who is doing day-to-day work, and your data warehousing, which is also called OLAP, by the way, sorry, there's a typo mistake. So this one should be OLAP, online analytical processing, is the manager. Okay, so you can remember it for you to visualize. Transactional system is developer who's doing day-to-day work. So he's given the assignment by the manager, and then he does the task, and at the end of the day, he submits. And then the manager is the one who collects the status for different tasks from different developers and then reports to top management. That's what a manager does. Exactly in the same way, you can say that transactional system is a system which is used for day-to-day transactions. So for example, a finance guy will enter data in OLTP. A sales and distribution guy will enter data. A talent or HR guy will also enter in the same system. So it's a transactional system where people are entering data on a daily basis and the business is running on top of that. So that's a developer. But then the manager, which is BW, collects data from the transaction systems, consolidates the data together, and then generates reports. So the final end goal of BW is to generate reports, and those reports are then used by the top management to take decisions. So that's the difference between an OLTP, a transaction system, which is called S4 in SAP's software landscape. It is called S4HANA. And the manager, who's the BW, data warehouse, which collects data and then consolidates and generates report, is called BW4HANA. So these are two separate systems, guys. Okay, they are connected, of course, because BW has to collect data from S4, but they are two separate systems. Okay. With that understanding, let's move on to a very, very important and common question. If I have S4, why do I require BW4? So this question comes into mind because S4 is also sitting on HANA. The S4 system, the transaction system, is also sitting on HANA, and BW is also sitting on HANA. So then a very common question is, okay, I have S4, it's very strong, it has all the benefits and the power of HANA, I'm leveraging that, then why the heck do I require BW for HANA, right? And the answer to that is you still require BW4. S4 HANA does not make BW obsolete. Why? There are multiple reasons. Some of them are these. Most of the organizations, they don't have just S4 as your source. They will have other systems also as a source. Say, for example, you have PeopleSoft, you have Oracle-based systems, you have SQL Server-based systems, you have cloud systems like SuccessFactors or others, Ariba. There can be many. So a company can have multiple systems, and usually company have multiple systems. So, and S4 is one of them. So you have to collect data from all these systems, not just S4. So data warehousing is actually designed to collect data from multiple systems. BW4 is designed to collect from multiple systems. You cannot do that for S4. You cannot connect all your other systems to S4 and then ask S4 to do the reporting. S4 is not designed for that. So because of the fact that a company has multiple systems, not just S4, you need a separate data warehouse which collects the data, consolidates the data, and presents it to the top management. So that is one of the most important reasons you still require BW4. Second reason is that S4 definitely can handle transactions and reporting. Okay, I'm not denying that. It can handle. But after a certain point of time, it starts to slow down. That's exactly what happened in one of my clients. They bought S4 HANA license. They did not have BW4 HANA license. They said, because it is powered by HANA, it should be able to do reporting and transaction both. And because the company was a startup company, they had very few users and the volume was very less. S4 was performing beautifully. It was doing the reporting very well with the transactions, so they were happy. But over the time, when the volume increased, when the number of users increased, and a lot of people are asking now reports, not just a report from sales and distribution only or for finance only, but they're asking combine these areas and then give me a report. Then what we witnessed was that S4 started to slow down. So even though S4 is very powerful, it cannot handle a multi-billion-dollar organization's reporting needs and the volume with the volume. So that's why even though S4 is strong, it is always recommended that you have a different data warehousing solution which can do reporting for you, so that you can leave the developer to do his or her task. If the developer is in the middle of the work and you keep asking, okay, tell me how many tasks are completed, how many tasks are not completed, tell me how many are under red escalations, how many you will be able to complete, he will not be able to do, or she will not be able to do her task. That's what exactly happens with S4. If you keep bugging S4 with reports, give me this report, give me that report, it will not be able to cope up after a certain point of time. So that's why you still require BW as a separate data warehousing solution. Third important point, S4 HANA downtime. Say, for example, you don't have a data warehousing separate, you only have S4. If your S4 goes down, your reporting goes down. Okay. But if you have a separate BW, even if your S4 is down due to some reason, your BW will still be operational. You can still continue doing reporting. Of course, your data flow will stop. The movement of data from your transaction to your data warehousing will stop. But the existing data which you already have in BW, that will continue to be used. So that is another major reason. And of course, any upgrades which you will do for S4 will result in downtimes for reporting as well, unavailability for reporting as well, if you don't have a separate reporting software. So these are one of the most important reasons why you still require BW software, even though you have S4. Okay. All right. Now, another question, very common question is BW on HANA, BW for HANA. What's the difference? Many people are confused. They think that it's one and the same thing, but it's not. So let's look at quickly the difference.
Devanshu, I had a small question. Are we allowed to ask questions in the meeting, or we'll have a Q&A session?
Yes, I have a dedicated Q&A session actually at the end. So I would request to just hold on to your question, and at the end I will come back and we'll answer those questions. Is that okay?
Thanks, Devi. Thanks.
Okay, sure. All right. So BW on HANA and BW for HANA. If I already have BW for HANA, why should I go for BW? If I have BW on HANA in my landscape, why should I go for BW for HANA? These questions are being asked by a lot of clients. They are saying that I already have license for BW on HANA. Everything is going well. Tell me the reason why I should go for BW for HANA. So to answer that, you should know the difference between BW on HANA and BW for HANA. BW on HANA, you still can use InfoCube and multi-providers. So the old types of objects are still allowed. So if you have something which is very critical, for example, you have real-time InfoCubes, planning is being done on that. You have inventory InfoCubes, and you don't want to disturb that. You can still be on BW on HANA and use the cube and multi-providers. BW for HANA does not allow you to use any older objects. InfoCube is not allowed, multi-providers are not there. Only new types of objects you can use, which is advanced DSO and composite provider. Second, info objects and fields both are there in BW on HANA, but info objects are used 95% of the time. Okay, fields are used less because they are not yet matured in BW on HANA. The features related to fields, the support for field-based DSOs is not there, or if it's there, it is very minimal in BW on HANA. Whereas in BW for HANA, you can use info objects and fields with equal flexibility. All the features for info objects, most of the features for info objects are also there for fields. Of course, there are info object specific features which are not there in fields. So that's why when it comes to reporting relevant info providers, info objects are still used and still recommended for BW for HANA. But fields have more flexibility and usage in BW for HANA. RSA1 T code, one of our favorite T codes, guys. Modeling tab is available in BW on HANA. That means from the GUI, from the backend, you can still do modeling in BW on HANA. But in for HANA, you cannot do any modeling in GUI. You have to do all modeling in Eclipse, which is HANA Studio, okay, which is an Eclipse plugin. So you have to do all the modeling in Eclipse. Then BW on HANA is not cloud.
These fields is a new type and a new type of object or artifact in BW4 HANA, because I've never heard this fields.
Yes, yes. Fields are not a new type of, you can say it's basically data source. You have used data source and data source had only fields, right? So those
Correct.
fields are used for DSOs, ADSOs also. In BW on HANA, our fields used to end at data source level. And from there on, we had info objects, right? But in BW for HANA, the advanced DSOs are also can be purely field based.
I see.
Okay, so an advanced DSO at a corporate memory layer or at a staging layer is only field based in BW for HANA. So that's the difference.
So you can actually skip the PSA and you can load directly from the data source to the ADSO. I think.
That's right. That's right. That's right. That's right. Yes, PSA is gone. In BW for HANA, there is no PSA. In BW on HANA, PSA was optional. Okay, most of the time it was there, but there was also an option to make it optional. You can skip PSA. In BW for HANA, there is no PSA at all. There is no info package at all in BW for HANA. Okay, those are some of the major differences. Then coming to the next point, modeling objects. There were a lot of modeling objects in BW on HANA. We had info cubes, we had virtual providers, we had info sets, we had multi-providers. So there were around 10 objects for modeling. All of them are consolidated into only 4 objects in BW4HANA. So there is no virtual provider separately. Okay, we have OpenODS view, which has replaced the virtual providers. There is no info set anymore. Composite providers have replaced both multi-providers and info sets. So modeling objects are consolidated. BW on HANA is a part of NetWeaver, and Java Stack is available in BW on HANA. BW for HANA is no more a part of NetWeaver stack. Please remember that, guys. And it does not have any Java Stack anymore. So at the time of migration, this is one of the tasks for basis guys to decouple the Java Stack and then migrate your existing BW to BW for HANA. So there is no Java Stack and it's not a part of NetWeaver. There is something called data flow modeler, which is very, very important when you are building the entire flow, starting from your data source to your advanced DSO to your composite provider. There's a modeler, data flow modeler, which helps you and saves a lot of time when you're doing modeling. But there is no such data flow modeler in BW on HANA. The next is BW on HANA. There is a GUI based administration and monitoring. That means you will log on to the backend system and there you will do all your administration and your monitoring. In BW for HANA, it's a theory based portal, online portal, which is called BW4 Cockpit, is used for administration and monitoring. Okay. Eclipse is used for modeling and BW4 Cockpit is used for administration and monitoring. Even your process chains, you no longer create in the backend in RSPC. You create those process chains in BW4 Cockpit. Next is very important again, ODP, Operational Data Provisioning, is a new type of source system. It is optional in BW on HANA. Okay, in BW on HANA, we still use the SAPI based connection, RFC connection for the data sources. But ODP is the default and the only source system type available for the SAP extractors. Even for CDS views, ODP is the default and recommended source system type. So this is a big change. Source system type has changed in BW for HANA. Info package and DTP are both there in BW on HANA. Only DTP is there in BW for HANA. There is no info package. PSA is mandatory. I think you can make it optional also in BW on HANA. PSA is obsolete and is gone. So which object has replaced PSA? Inbound table of the advanced DSO, which is the first table where data comes, has replaced PSA. And this table will allow you to modify records. Okay. The main advantage of PSA was we could load data, edit the records in PSA and send it forward. Same thing you can do with inbound table now. Okay. There is no PSA anymore. So these are some of the salient features or salient differences rather, which you have to keep in mind when you decide whether BW for HANA is required or you want to go there or still you're not ready. Okay, so this is just a pictorial depiction of the info providers, how it evolved. So starting from 1.2, you see we had info object, cube, info package, update rule, transfer rules. This is 3.x flow, by the way, multi-provider and query. Then we had info spoke, which was introduced, which was used to send data out of BW. We had ODS object, info set, virtual provider, etc. It went on, transformation was introduced in 7.0, DTP was introduced, transient providers, and then gradually these were consolidated. And in 7.5 and now in BW for HANA, we have DSO advanced, composite provider, OpenODS view, and info object. These are the 4 consolidation I was talking about. So if you scroll up, I said modeling objects are 4. So what are those 4? Info object, advanced DSO for persistency. That means data is actually loaded in them. And virtual are composite providers and OpenODS views. These are used for virtual access. So only these 4 info providers, you can do all types of modeling. Of course, there is analysis process designer, APD we used to call. Now it is called HAP. But from an info provider standpoint, there are only 4. Okay, that's the evolution of your info providers. Then the next question is, what happens to the older BW versions? Are they obsolete or are they still supported? The answer is they are still supported. And this is the table I have created for a quick overview of which version of BW is supported till what date. Okay, RTC stands for release to customer. So starting from 7.0, it was released in 2006. Earlier, SAP said that I'm going to stop the maintenance in 2017, but recently they announced that it will be extended till 2027. So we still have time, customers still have time to prepare, plan their migration and go to BW4HANA. 7.3 till 2020, 4 also 2020, 5 is there till 2027. BW4HANA 1.0 will end maintenance 2021 and 2.0 in 2024. Okay, there's an SAP note 1648480. You can refer to that note. It has clearly what dates are there for the end of maintenance for which BW version. All right. Next question. I get this question so frequently that I can't even, I can't even tell you, because people say what they have the notion is, if I have BW, S4 is mandatory, or if I have S4, BW is mandatory. Neither of that statement is true. Please remember that BW4HANA can be implemented with ECC as your source. You don't need to upgrade your source to S4. And similarly, for S4, you don't need BW. Your normal BW will work with S4. Of course, there are some changes you have to make sure you adhere to. But apart from that, you don't have to upgrade your BW to BW4 if you are going for S4 and vice versa. Okay. If you have ECC and you are upgrading only your BW to BW4HANA, and if you want to use the new source system type, which is ODP, you have to implement this note. As soon as you implement this note in your ECC, immediately your new type of source system will be available for you to consume in your BW4HANA. But please remember the point that S4 is not mandatory for BW4 and BW4 is not mandatory for S4. Okay, next question. How about HANA DB versions? So for HANA DB versions, what you have to remember is, if you are using BW4HANA 1.0, it can run on both 1.0 and 2.0 HANA. I'm talking about the database. But BW4HANA 2.0 can only run on HANA 2.0. It cannot run on HANA 1.0. So that's definitely a dependency there. So if you have HANA 1.0, you want to go for BW4HANA 2.0, you have to mandatorily upgrade your HANA database to 2.0. Okay. How about source system? So for example, I am upgrading my BW to BW4HANA. What is the minimum source system release I should have? That's another very common question. And the answer is, you should be on ECC 6.0 or higher. If you have CRM, it should be on 5.0 or higher. And if you have SCM, supply chain management, your demand planning, supply network planning, etc., you should be on 5.0 or higher. So this is the minimum source release you should have for you to go for BW4HANA. Okay. Next, can I go directly from BW 7. Say, for example, 7.3 to BW4HANA 2.0? Yes, you can go there, but there is a prerequisite. What is that prerequisite? You should be on BW4HANA 2.0 SP2 or higher. Only then you can go directly to 2.0. Otherwise, you have to go to 1.0, BW4HANA 1.0 first, and then go to 2.0. Okay, so that's the minimum prerequisite. And what about non-source systems, non-SAP? You have, say, for example, Oracle based or SQL Server based. So they are supported for BW4HANA, okay, but they should be compatible with SDA or SDI, because the method to extract the data in BW4HANA for non-SAP source systems is SDA or SDI. So as long as your non-SAP source system is compatible with these, you are good. Another question. Yesterday itself, I got this questions asked. What about standard content of LO Cockpit? Remember our favorite LO Cockpit, Logistics Cockpit, your sales and distribution data sources. Are they still the same? Answer is yes. LO Cockpit Source side, Hello Cockpit, there is no change. RSA5 processes the same activation of the data source. RSA6 post processing is the same. LBWE, where you activate your delta mechanism and your data source, it's the same. So for the Hello Cockpit, nothing has changed. Process to activate the standard extractors stays the same, no change there. Process to enhance the standard extractors has changed. What is the change? Previously, we used to go to RSAP 001 and then there are certain exits and then we enhance them in CMOD code. Now, instead of that CMOD code, you have to enhance your standard extractors with a baddie, which is RSU5 SAP underscore baddie. Use this baddie, create an enhancement spot of this baddie, and then do your enhancement for the standard extractors. So that process has changed. Enhancement via RSAP 001 is obsolete and should not be used. And another very important one is there is something called CDS views. There's a new concept which is introduced, and going forward, all the standard extractors for BW will be based on CDS views. And how you enhance those CDS views based extractors? Via something called a extension CDS views. So CDS views are of two types, regular and extension CDS views. So using those extension CDS views, you will enhance that extractor which is based on CDS views. This is part of our training. Okay, so we are going to create CDS views. We are going to create extension CDS views and extract them in BW. Okay. Okay, so terms like CD. Yeah, go
connection
ahead.
was interrupted. My connection was interrupted and I lost that above point, the one before this. The standard content such as above that one.
Okay, so what I will do is the recording will be there.
What about not? Okay.
Okay, so recording will be there. I would suggest, because of the interest of time, I apologize. I am not going back because I have to cover few more things. I'm sorry about that. But you in the recording, you will be able to hear. Yeah. Okay, so terms like CDS views, embedded analytics, AMDP, right? We all have heard these terms in blogs, in LinkedIn, in the video tutorials. But what exactly are those, and are they relevant for BW? The answer is yes, they are relevant for BW. How? We'll quickly see. So CDS views. What is a CDS view? CDS view is nothing but a new way to create a select query in ECC or in S4 rather. Okay, I repeat, CDS view is a new way to create a select query on multiple tables. So it's just like a DB view. We used to create a create view statement, DB view. It's a new way to create a view in S4 HANA. What is AMDP? AMDP is nothing but a new way to implement ABAP methods. So if you are familiar with classes and methods in ABAP, so every method has a definition and every method has an implementation. So the implementation of the method is done via a database procedure. Okay, so classes and methods concept is still there. There is no change. The change is that the method now you will implement is via a new type of code. And that code is nothing but your database procedure code. That's the only thing. That's all is AMDP. Okay. So you have to remember the definition so that in simplified terms, you should understand these. And how are they relevant for BW? Well, as I told you, the data sources which will be released for BW4HANA, okay, in future, will all be based on CDS views. Standard and custom data sources also you should create on CDS views. And the technical content in BW4HANA, technical content means your zero TCT, right? Your statistics, BI statistics, all that technical content will be based on CDS views. So that's why it's very important for us to understand what are the CDS views, how to create those CDS views, and how to consume that in BW4HANA. Everything is there as part of this training. Okay, don't worry about that. So just a pictorial depiction, you can see that old world, we used to have all these tables in S4HANA and we used to create programs, Z programs, and use them in front end. Now in the new world, On top of the tables, you will have CDS views, and that CDS view will be used in the front end. So that's the difference. Earlier, directly we used to use tables, but now there is a middle layer which is called CDS views, which will sit on top of the tables, and then CDS views will be used in your front end. There is something called annotations in CDS views, which is used for extraction. So if you want a CDS view to be extracted in BW, you have to include certain mandatory annotations. What is an annotation? What are those mandatory annotations? Don't worry, everything I am going to cover as part of this training when we create CDS views. So this is the future direction from SAP. They are saying that the data sources, okay, for ODP will all be based on CDS data models. So ABAP data models, existing ODP, new data models will be based on new CDS views, and there'll be an automatic generation planned, meaning the moment you activate a CDS view, it will also generate a data source. So that kind of automatic generation is also planned for upcoming releases. And the third term, which we have heard a lot, is embedded analytics. What is that? Please remember, in a very simple term, embedded analytics is nothing but a bunch of CDS views in S4. Okay, the group or a bunch of CDS views, which are standard CDS views given by SAP, together they are called embedded analytics. Why embedded analytics? Because reporting in S4 is done using these CDS views. Previously, they were called Hana Live. If you are familiar with this, they were called Hana Live. It was based on Hana CVs. Now they are based on CDS views. Okay. And where would we use AMDP? So we saw how we use CDS, but where do we use AMDP in BW? AMDP is used in two places in BW. First is transformations. BW transformations. Now the routines, start routine, end routine, field routine, expert routine, all the routines will be written as an AMDP class. You will no longer write it in a simple ABAP code, which we used to write. It is going into an AMDP class. Okay, and that class is automatically generated. Don't worry, you don't have to write a class. That is automatically generated.
So Devanshu, does the field routine also be possible in AMDP?
Right now, I think field routine are probably not there for AMDP. Yeah. Right now, we only have the start, end, and expert routine. But going forward, if you have complex field routines, they will also be created as AMDP. But right now, yes, you're right. Right now, it's not there for field routine.
Yeah. Actually, we have tried that basically, but no, it does not support. So
you're right.
Okay,
you're
thank
right.
you.
You're right. 100%. Yeah. So the moment you create an expert routine or end routine or start routine, it will ask you, do you want to create ABAP or do you want to create AMDP? So the moment you click AMDP, you will write the database procedure compatible code, HANA database procedure compatible code. A class is already generated for you. A method is generated for you. You just have to write the code inside that. And again, we will do all this as part of our training. We are going to enhance that transformation with routines. And there I'll show you what is the format of AMDP. Okay, this is one of the interfaces which gets generated and added. AMDP marker HDB, one of the most important interfaces if you want to use AMDP. Again, I am not going to teach you the ABAP classes and methods. Okay, I expect you that you know the concept, and if you don't know the concept, maybe a little bit of a reading, if you can do, I would request you, so that you are aware of what is a class, what is a method, because that's the OOPS, ABAP OOPS concept. Okay, this training is not about teaching you ABAP OOPS. This the class and method is used in transformation. So definitely I will tell you what is an AMDP, but I would expect you to know the class and methods process, or the concept rather. And then finally, another very important and common question is there anything which Eclipse cannot do and you still have to go back to GUI to do that? And there are more than a couple of things which you still have to go to GUI. The most important ones are business content activation. So if you want to activate your standard content, your info objects, composite providers, ADSOs, transformations, you still have to do it with the transaction code GUI based editors. There is no Eclipse editor so far as I know. And then transports.
But we can get over from Eclipse itself, right? The GUI.
Yes. Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, you're right. So what the gentleman is trying to say is, yes, you have to do with GUI, but that GUI also you can open within Eclipse. Okay, you don't have to navigate out of Eclipse. You can still do in Eclipse, but there is no Eclipse editor, like native Eclipse editor, which can do that for you right now. You still have to go to the transaction code within Eclipse, and I'll show you in a moment in the demo how you can do that. And then in transports, if you want to do transports, your Cockpit can do that, okay? But still, it's not yet matured enough to do all the things in a proper way. So I still prefer going to the transaction code SE01 or SE10 or SE09 and do the transport. But then again, within Eclipse, not going out of Eclipse. Okay, so these are some of the most frequently asked questions. I thought that I'll quickly, discuss this with you so that people will have clarity and can answer these questions. Okay, we have just 12 minutes left, guys. So I'll quickly jump to the system for the demo. Let me see if it's working.
Hi, Dipanshu. Hi, I have
Yes.
one question.
Yes, go ahead.
Like in BW, I have created one data model, right? And immediately after creating one data model, data load is working fine. But immediately I got my system changed, like source system changed. So what are the steps to be followed again? Because firstly, I created one data source from previous source system. Then I created ADSO and then query. So once my source system is changed, so the thing I know is we need to change our transformation. We need to change our DTP, right? But what about our ADSO? Means can we change the settings? Or do we need to create another ADSO for the new system, source system?
Okay, so for that, to answer that, you have to know the fact that is ADSO connected to your source system somehow? No.
Yeah, this is the thing which I did while creating ADSO. There are three options, right? Templates you're talking about. None?
Yeah, I'm talking about templates, but with those templates, the ADSO is generated, and then once it is generated, then it is independent of the source system, right? The things which are dependent on your source system is your data source, 100%, right? And your DTP, as you correctly mentioned.
Yeah.
Right? But your ADSO, as long as the DTP is pointing to the correct data source and your transformation is pointing to your correct data source, ADSO, I think you can reuse the same ADSO for the different source system.
But when I create the ADSO with the template, like it is picking the data from particular source system. So this is my confusion actually. We are changing the data source, we are changing transformation DTP, but if I create, so there, if I'm working in a production system, right, I have multiple things, so I can't rechange the system now.
That's right.
So,
that's right. No, I see, as far as my understanding goes, you don't have to change ADSO. You don't have to create a new ADSO. Yes, you'll have to reactivate the transformations, DTPs, and your data source to make sure they are correctly pointing to the correct source system. But ADSO, I think you don't have to create.
Okay,
are you facing any error while activating the ADSO?
Actually, right now I'm working in a development system, so I created another one, right? The new ADSO. But afterwards, I thought that if I'm working in a production system and there are multiple things to be changed, so it's not feasible and it's not a good practice to change everything, right? We need to.
And it's not practical. You're right. It's not pragmatic.
Yeah, it's not practical.
For every, exactly. These things keep happening in development system, yes, but I think it should not impact your ADSO. You don't have to create a new ADSO. That's gonna make things very complex if that has to be done.
And okay, so what about query? Because I created new ADSO, then I created a new query on that ADSO.
Yeah. First of all, you should not create a query directly on ADSO. That's not a good practice. You should create a composite provider on top of ADSO and then create a query. But fine, if you have created a query on ADSO, If your ADSO is not changing, your query is also not changing. As simple as that.
Okay, but
Okay.
actually, no, I'm not still. I have one confusion. So if I'm not changing ADSO, right? So I created the ADSO with the source system template. So automatically it will take that but new source system.
Okay, let's do one thing. Let's discuss this offline, right? Because we have only 8 minutes left. So
Okay.
let me complete
Okay.
the demo, and
Okay.
for this specific issues, we can connect separately.
Yeah, sure. I have already dropped a message to you.
Okay, I'll have
Yeah.
a look. Sure.
Okay.
So Debo, do you want to have a questionnaire session now, or at the end?
Okay, let me do one thing. I'll try to quickly show you the demo, and
Sure.
after the demo, then we'll take up the question answer session.
Sure.
Last 5 minutes.
Okay.
Okay, so this is my Eclipse. This is a new environment for modeling. Okay, this is where you will do all your modeling. So if you see here, these are the folders. These are called projects. So project is nothing but a connection between your HANA Studio or your Eclipse and your backend server. So as a step number one,
I can't see your screen.
Yeah, we can only see the one note screen.
System
If you're sharing something else.
Okay. Hold on. Sorry about that. Let me share my screen. Let me know if you're able to see my screen now.
Yeah.
Okay. Can you see Eclipse, or you are still seeing OneNote?
No, yeah, we can see the Eclipse now.
You can see the Eclipse. Okay. Thank you. Thanks for letting me know. So basically, this is your new modeling environment, Eclipse. And this is where you will create all your models, advanced DSOs, composite providers, etc. So here you have a perspective. Okay, there's a concept of perspective in Eclipse. You have something called BW modeling perspective. And how you get that? You have to install that from help, install new software, and then you will download the Eclipse plugin for BW modeling. So that's how you will get it. Once you get that, then you will have to create a project. So you will right click in this project explorer and you will say new project, or you will say BW project. Okay, if you are connecting with BW. And if it's a S4 system, you will connect an ABAP project. So there are two different type of projects. So in this case, I have one ABAP project and one BW project. So once you connect to your backend system, this project is nothing but your connectivity to your backend system. So if you see here in my logon pad, step number 1, you have to add the system in the logon pad. That's mandatory. Okay. Once you do that, then only your system will be available for your project creation. So assuming that you have created your project, when you expand that, you will have these folders: BW repository, favorites, data sources. Okay, for data sources, there is a separate folder here. Now, if you go into BW repository, that's where you will create all your objects. So I'll just quickly show you what objects I have. Okay, under my folder, I have another folder which is info area. Okay, these are called info areas. In the old world, you remember them as info areas. They will show up as folders here in Eclipse. So I'll show you on composite provider. And I was talking about data flow modeler, right? Which was not there previously. So this is how you can access the data flow modeler. So this is the composite provider. You right click on it, say explore data flow. When you say explore data flow, this data flow modeler is opened up where you can see your entire data flow right from your composite providers down to your advanced DSO. And if you want to go further down, they hover over it, click on it, you will see further down. Here it is not there because these are the planning ADSOs. So there is no further down. But if there is a transformation and DTP, you will see that. Okay. So this is your data flow modeler. Similarly, your advanced DSOs, you will create all your advanced DSOs here. Similarly, your query, BW query. Okay. So I have a composite provider and I have a query. You can access it right from Eclipse and you can see all the features which was there in BEX, Business Explorer previously. Okay. BEX is no more there. Now we have BW query. So we'll create that. So this is your new modeling environment. And I told you that for monitoring and administration, there is something called Cockpit. So how you can access that? Just right click on your project and there's an option called Open BW Cockpit. So once you open BW4HANA Cockpit, it will go to your web portal. That means it will open up either Chrome or Internet Explorer, whatever is your web browser. And within that web browser, it will show you all the tiles These are all BW related tiles. You have modeling, you have monitoring, you have data management, etc. So you can do your process chain creation here. You can do your monitoring here. For data management, you can do your ADSO and info object. You manage the data. That means you can enter the data for these objects, for info objects here. You can manage the request for ADSO. So this is the new modeling, not modeling, sorry. This is the new administration and your monitoring tool, BW4HANA Cockpit. Okay. And then what one of the gentlemen was mentioning is you can open your GUI right from here. So what you have to do is you can click on this icon, or you can say Control 6. I usually use Control 6. You choose the project, hit enter. Your GUI will open within Eclipse. Okay. So once your GUI opens within Eclipse, you can go to the transaction codes, like for example, RSOR or your SE37, your SM37, etc. And then you can do your activities from there. It's still opening up, so just bear with me. It's taking a little bit of time, but this is what I think the gentleman was talking about, that you don't have to go back to your GUI from here. All your transaction codes can be accessible right from Eclipse. Okay, I don't know why it's taking so much time, but usually it opens up pretty fast. And then
will
from
you
there
be
on,
giving us the access to the systems as well, Debashri? Sorry, with the training.
no, I don't provide servers, but what I will do is I will recommend you the vendor who provided me this server. I have tested this server, it works well. So I can recommend you the vendor, and you can access the server from the vendor directly. I don't give servers separately.
Okay.
Yeah. So for example, here RSA1. If I go to RSA1, is a T code there? Yes, T code is still there. Okay. Many people, they think that RSA1 is gone. RSA1 T code is not gone, guys. RSA1 T code is still there. What is gone from RSA1 is modeling tab. That is gone. Yeah, sorry.
So
let's take the
couple of questions. Very quick couple of questions. So
yeah.
Do you have any idea how do they charge for the server?
Yeah, well, the price you have to negotiate with them, the vendors, right? But usually I think what they charge is around $100 per month.
Okay. Yeah. And how about the performance? I have tried earlier because, what was on me is like, I just go and get the document from Learning Hub of SAP and tried myself something in BW4HANA so far, right? So with that, what I noticed, like, with one vendor, what I went for like, $35 per month, but the system is horribly slow, and there are plenty of issues. Basis guys does not know exactly what is just going around in the system. And finally, I was not able to even create certain ADSO stuff in the system, what I went for, then I came out of that. So the vendor who you prefer, probably how trustworthy in terms of quality of the system?
Good question. Very good question. So the reason I will recommend that vendor is because I have personally tested them. Okay. So now let me come back to something called code structure. In the code structure, let me quickly show you this. So in the code structure, I have certain vendors. These are the vendors I have tested so far. Okay. There's a list of vendors. The first one, from which this system is there, which I'm using right now, is from this first guy, Get Trained GT. And she's the lady who is managing that. They provide very good server, but see, they are all India-based server, Hyderabad-based server, mostly. So you cannot expect them to be perfect like client servers, like you get in actual clients. But these guys, what I found good with them is, if there is an issue, and if you send that email or WhatsApp, I'm connected on WhatsApp also, within a day, they are fixing the problems for me. So that's what I found them good. Next is these guys, Saraswati Technologies, ERP demo, way to ERP. They're all okay, but this guy, I found it to be good. Another reason I'm using this guy is, you don't need to log in into any remote desktop for this guy. All others, you'll have to log in into a remote desktop, right? Here, I'm not using any remote desktop. I directly added the system in my logon pad and I'm using it. So that's one of the good things about him.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
one more thing, sorry to interrupt there. On this, after this training, you will be able to take 2 certifications, okay? Whatever is applicable for you, because this training is formatted according to these certification topics. First certification is E_BW4HANA 200, and the second is C_BW4HANA 20. You have to know the difference between them, okay? Many people, they are not aware which one is the one which you should take. Both are valid certifications. One is expert and one is associate. If you don't have BW on HANA certification, then you have to take associate. You don't have a choice. But if you already have BW on HANA, then there is a Delta certification, which is also called expert level certification, which I have taken, okay, recently, that you can take. This
So the
has
certificate. So the certification that that you mentioned you did in 2011 or 12, we also did that. So can we do E1 now?
yes, if you have. So which BW version was it? Your
It
certification?
was very initial, 2012, whatever.
Oh,
It was very
2012. No.
Yeah.
See, the prerequisite is this should be BW. Sorry, for this first one, it should be BW on HANA. So it cannot be a version prior to 7.3. It should be 7.3 or 7.4 or 7.5. Any one of them on HANA, if you have, then you can take the E1. If you don't have 2012, 13, you have to take C1.
Oh, Dev, I just have a quick question.
Yes.
So I got my access from a site called Michael Management, but they have 7.5 on HANA, and like how you were mentioning earlier that they don't give you direct access. You have to download it through GUI.
Yes.
So I didn't have access to HANA server. So if I need to migrate my composite providers, I wasn't able to do that. But they have 7.5, and I did download the Eclipse on my desktop separately. It does work for practice purposes, but it really doesn't give me the whole aspect of the whole modeling. You think 7.5, well, is that a good route to go, or I have to have BW4HANA in order to practice for this?
I would recommend BW4HANA, and the reason is you will not have Cockpit working for 7.5.
Right.
First reason, right? You will not have the new data flow modeler working for 7.5. You will not have the inbound table working as a PSA in 7.5. So there are a lot of things in 7.5 you will not get, which is purely for BW4HANA. And please be aware that if you take a server from somebody, they might fool you saying that this is BW4HANA 2.0.
Right.
I have been fooled a couple of times. The way you should identify that, is it really BW4HANA 2.0, or are they just saying HANA database 2.0? These are two separate things. HANA database as 2.0 and BW4HANA server as 2.0. So
status, system status.
How do you identify? See, in Eclipse, I'll tell you, in Eclipse, the project you create, click on that project, go to properties. Okay, there is something called properties view. In the properties, if you click on the project, it will load the system details for you. Okay, it's still loading. It's a little bit slow. There you go. So if you click on the properties on the project, you will see it should say DW for core 200. Okay, only if it says DW for core 200, SP level is 4 in this. Okay, then you are confident that, okay, this is BW4HANA 2.0. What they do is they just tell you that HANA server, the database server is 2.0, and they say that this is BW4HANA 2.0. That is not the case. Okay, always check here, go to DW core 2.0 and 004. Then you are confident.
Is BW4 compatible with the XSA Advanced, or do we still have to use XS Classic?
XS Classic. BW for HANA is compatible with XSA. That means in composite providers, you can use the HDI based calculation views. You can use that, right? It is compatible. But when you generate a calculation view out of an advanced DSO or out of a composite provider, when you generate it, right, they are XS Classic calculation views. The generated calculation views are not HDI calculation views. This is a very important point you have to remember. But if you have HDI based CVs in your HANA 2.0, you can use that in composite provider. Yes, that compatibility is there. So compatibility from HANA to BW is there, but from BW to HANA, when it's generated calculation views, they will not be generated in 2.0 HDI CVs. They will still be Access Classic.
Okay, so BW4 is not NetWeaver based anymore. It's not OpenSQL anymore. It's something else then?
See, you are mixing two things. NetWeaver and OpenSQL. These are two separate things. OpenSQL is the language used by ABAP. Okay.
Right.
OpenSQL is still there because ABAP has not gone. Okay. Don't get confused that there is no ABAP in BW4HANA. Definitely it's an ABAP based application server. But what has gone from it is NetWeaver components, for example, portal, PWIP portal, right? That code from the NetWeaver stack is gone. Java stack is gone. Lot of other additional stuff which was a burden on the NetWeaver, which is not required by BW4HANA is gone. BPC, for example, BPC code. Now BPC is an add-on on top of BW, so you don't have to have all those codes already there in BW. So it's a lean server. It's a very slim ABAP server, but it is still ABAP. Remember that. ABAP has not gone away.
What about DSIS, like for SLT purposes? Is it there or is it gone too?
SLT is there, but SLT is less frequently used. Why? Because SLT is table based. You cannot extract a data source and connect it to SLT. That doesn't work. If you want to use SLT, you have to connect to table level, right? Tables.
Right.
So that's why SLT is definitely there, but not used. What is used is ODP. So if you go to data sources, under that, you'll have a lot of types of source systems. One is ODP SAP. This is the standard and recommended way for standard extractors. Second is ODP CDS views. This is a recommended way if you have CDS view in your S4 and you want to extract that. These are the two most frequently used. SLT is hardly used. Yes, it can be used. I'm not saying it is not there. One of the types is ODP SLT.
ODP context, it can be used, I guess.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it can be. But again, you have to, then you are talking about extracting tables, not data sources. Right? What a data source does for you is it already combines a lot of tables and it gives you a structure as a data source. But in SLT, you'll have to get the tables first, do a join between those tables, create a calculation view maybe, and then use that calculation view in the composite provider. Then SLT is used when you have a non-SAP data, which you want to bring in BW, and you can use SLT for real-time replication from that non-SAP source. Then SLT is useful.
Hey, Devanshu, one question. Like in HANA, we are using instead of Eclipse XSA, right? So any plans or anything is coming for BW also for HANA? Instead of Eclipse, we should use something that.
Oh, you are saying the web ID?
Yeah, right.
No. For BW4HANA, right now, the only web-based portal is Cockpit. That's all. For modeling, you still have to use Eclipse. So there is no web ID for BW4HANA 2.0. Okay, before, guys, I think we are way over time, 10 minutes. Yeah, one second, guys. I'll take the questions. I'll quickly want to tell you the modus operandi which I'm following in my training, and then I will take the remaining questions and we'll close the call. Okay. So just give me 2 more minutes, please. So the way I'm conducting training is like this. I will take a business scenario. So there will be a requirement from a client in the form of a report. So you have to create the report. So how we'll create the report is we'll create custom CDS views in S4, where I will introduce you to CDS views and what are the types of CDS views. Main plus we will extend that CDS view as well. Then we'll create custom ADSOs, DTPs, transformations. Staging ADSO will be based on fields and standard ADSO will be based on info objects. We'll create them. Then we will create custom routines in transformation using AMDP class and methods. So we'll see that. Then what I will do is I will generate HANA calculation views out of those ADSOs and use them to create another custom calculation view in native HANA. And finally, that we will use in hybrid modeling, meaning in composite provider, we'll use a CV. So we'll use ADSOs here plus the generated CVs out of the ADSOs. Then we will use a composite provider, which will combine those calculation views in ADSOs, as I mentioned, using union and join. So now you can use both union and join. So we will use that. We will set up analysis authorizations on those ADSOs. we will see that how analytic privileges got generated when I generated the calculation view out of the ADSO. We'll create the query in Eclipse as I showed you. Then we will create a customer exit variable in query. Previously, we used to write code in CMod. Now we'll have to write again with RSROA variables exit HANA baddie enhancement spot. So we'll use that. Then I will create a process chain in Cockpit. Now we will do the data manipulation like PSA like concept in inbound table, which I'll show you how you can manipulate data there. Then we will configure SAP Analytics Cloud connectivity to BW using CORS. So there is a bunch of steps you'll have to do before you can connect a BW to SAC. And then we will consume the BW query in SAC and create the model and story in SAC. Then in addition to that, I'll also show you the standard content activation, logistics cockpit, sales and distribution, how you activate it. Process is the same. The additional step which SAP has added is release for ODP. Okay, this was not there previously. So there's an additional step called release data source for ODP. So we'll see how to do that, and remaining process is the same. And then I'll also show you that ODP SAP delta queues, which is called ODQs. Okay, RSS7 is gone. There is no RSS7. ODQ mon T code has replaced it. So we'll see how to do monitoring with ODQ mon as well. And if the time permits, I will also show you how to enhance the standard extractors with this baddie in the S4. And I'll also show you the planning enabled ADSOs like BWIP, integrated planning, how that workflow is configured, if the time permits. Okay, so that's the modus operandi I'm following in my training.
Devanshu, I have a question.
Yes, please.
Yeah, so you said the SSC you are going to show. So this is the vendor which will provide the SSC access also, correct?
That's right. So I'm working with this guy.
So all four vendors will provide the SSC,
no,
or this is
no, not all four vendors. As far as I know, only this guy is providing SSC.
okay. So if I'll purchase like 6 months or 1 year, so they will give some discount?
I think so. That we'll have to negotiate with them.
Okay. They have any website or directly the email ID?
No, they have website. So just type on Google get trained GT,
okay,
and their website should come up.
So my question is, when you are doing the training, hello, Devanshu, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay,
Go ahead,
so
one at a time.
we tried to do one training in the past, and somebody was just playing the YouTube videos. So are you going to do the training yourself in the sessions, or is it going to be a video based?
I'm actually surprised somebody is playing YouTube videos in training.
Not the YouTube, some recorded videos.
No. I'm going to do myself. I'm going to do the steps step by step, and I expect you guys to practice that on your server. So I'm going to take the training and I'm going to do it real time. No YouTube videos.
Okay, that's good. Thank you.
I'm actually surprised. Yeah.
So
Tell
first
me.
of all, hats off Devanshu, the way you made your content and everything is really nice. Okay, so hats for that. And secondly, my question is, couple of questions I have. So the first one, you said one startup company is started using S4HANA for their analytics, but SAP itself clients the operational analytics in the S4HANA that's called as embedded analytics, I believe.
Correct.
And when I say strategic analytics, then you need a BW4HANA. So this statement is correct, or still we can build a strategic analytics in S4HANA itself? I don't think so, right?
No, you can. You can build anything you want in S4HANA. You can build strategic, you can build operational, both are possible in S4, right? But S4 is primarily used for operational reporting only. When you don't want to wait for the data load, when you don't want to wait for a few minutes of delay or few hours of delay, you immediately want the data. Yes, then S4 is your way. You have to build the CDS view based reporting, and then you do it. Strategic
Okay, so
also you can do in S4.
Let's say as an example, the snapshotting kind of reporting, right?
Yes.
24 months trends report. It's also possible in S4HANA because the CDS view to be created in a way to load the data in such a way, right? That's what
Correct. Absolutely. See, that's what I'm saying. You can create a CDS view and load the data as a snapshot with a snapshot ID or a snapshot timestamp, right? In a table. and you can do reporting based on that table. That's possible in S4.
Okay. Got it.
But you are actually burdening S4 more and more. You are doing that.
Okay.
And you are duplicating the data also in S4, right?
Okay.
Same data you are taking and putting into another table. So it is possible, but over time, as I saw in my client, S4 will start to get slow.
Okay, sure, got it. And you know, as I explored myself so far, you know, the term which a little bit confusing me, like, you know, may only to me or, you know, to many people, the VDM, the virtual data model. When I say virtual data model, either CDS view is called a virtual data model. I think it's a ABAP CDS view, where if I use analytic annotation, like, you know, the analytics annotation, then I can make use of it in BW. If I don't use analytics annotation, then it can be used in the through Fiori elements. We can create some operational reporting and OLTP kind of reporting, and that also called as VDM, right? Virtual data model, right?
Yes. So any model which you create with CDS view can be called as virtual data model. Why? Because it is virtually accessing the data from the underlying tables.
Okay.
Correct. Don't get you know, confused by these fancy terms, VDM and HANA Live and AMDP. These are all fancy terms thrown at us. Actually, at the base level, they are nothing but a select query with a join condition on different tables. That's all a CDS view is basically, right? With some extra conditions, like they are doing some where condition you can put, you can parameterize a CDS view, right? Those things you can do. But essentially, VDM means a virtual join and union and combination of table, which is nothing but your CDS view. Now, if you add a certain annotation, BW can identify that and extract it. If you don't add those annotations, BW will not identify it. If you add Fiori-based annotations, Fiori can access it. So those are called different semantics you can put on top of CDS views. But all type of CDS views, you call it as VDM, virtual data model.
Okay. So, and one more question. I got to know like couple of CDS views. One is the HANA CDS view, another one is ABAP CDS views. ABAP CDS views is basically for, you know, completely with the SAP system, but the HANA CDS views are for native solution, which means the non or legacy system based solution, like, you know, our native HANA application, what we build as of today, you know, directly extract the data from legacy system and then create a HANA view on top of that, right? For those kind of scenarios, do we need to create a HANA CDS view?
Okay, again, good question. A lot of people are confused between ABAP CDS views and HANA CDS views.
Yeah.
So if you don't have ABAP stack, say for example, you don't have S4, you have only HANA database and you are doing modeling inside HANA database. That means you are creating calculation views. It can be accessed advanced based, it can be accessed classic based, that's a different matter. But you are creating calculation views, say for example, right? Now, calculation views are now not recommended anymore. What SAP is saying is create CDS views, HANA CDS views. They are better suited than calculation views because semantics you can add and a lot of other things you can do just by writing a code, simple code.
Okay.
And there is a visual editor for HANA CDS view. You don't have to write the code. ABAP CDS, you still have to write some code, but HANA CDS, you don't have to write the code. So yeah, you don't have to write. There's a visual editor. You can just drag and drop. So if you don't have ABAP in your company or in your landscape, go for HANA CDS. Okay, if you have HANA database. If you have ABAP and you're deciding ABAP CDS or HANA CDS, don't go for HANA CDS, go for ABAP CDS. Why? First thing is, it will be integrated with your transport. So your ABAP transport request, what you create, it will be automatically integrated with ABAP transport. Second, it has authorizations. The ABAP authorization concept, analysis authorizations and other authorization, automatically it is applicable for ABAP CDS views, which is not the case with HANA CDS views. So if you have ABAP, always go for ABAP CDS views. If you don't have ABAP, if you only have HANA database, go for HANA CDS views.
Got it.
Okay, Dev, one more question here. Is this about the SQL data warehouse?
One question, Devanshu.
Yes, tell me.
Yeah, I mean, whenever you were telling like you got S4 HANA, and you were seeing like there are a couple of requirements for the reporting. Initially, it was good, and after that, there was a performance issue.
Yes.
So what I'm expecting there is the reports were generated using native HANA concepts. Am I right?
No, no. Reports were generated out
Okay,
of CDS views, ABAP CDS views. So as I told you, in S4, you should not go for calculation views anymore. S4, SAP has already given you lot of CDS views. Let me show you in the system. Okay, just give me a minute. Let me show you. So if you log in into your S4 HANA, you see if it is accessible, it should be. In S4 HANA, okay, once you create a project and connect it to S4 HANA, you go to a package, an ABAP package, and in that package, you right click on that ABAP package and say new and go to other ABAP object and type core. The moment you type core, the core data services will show up. Now, if you create data definition, this is a file, which is the source file for ABAP CDS views. I'll just say dev CDS test2, something like that, test CDS, and I'll click on next. Transport request will be asked. So I have already a transport request. I'll say finish. Now see what will happen. I'm creating my CDS view, which is based on a standard CDS view. Okay. And there are hundreds of standard CDS view. So what I'll do is I'll say, select from the data source name. All the standard CDS view will be either starting with C or I. So I'm going for I. I is interface CDS views. So say for example, for GL account, okay, just press Control space. The moment you press Control space, it will list you all the CDS views which SAP has given for GL account. Similarly, they have also given for sales and distribution, for HR, for all the other modules. So you don't have to reinvent the wheel. So what I meant when I said that reporting is happening in S4, I meant based on these standard CDS views, we created custom CDS views based on these, and then we use that in our S4 HANA reporting.
Yeah, I got you, Devanshu, but there is a simple small question.
Yeah.
Probably the question is like when we go for native HANA and when we go for BW4HANA.
Okay, when you say native HANA, okay. You mean you are talking about data warehousing solution? Whether should I go for native HANA based data warehousing or BW based data warehousing? Correct?
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Okay, so you should go for native HANA based data warehousing if you have lot of non-SAP sources. If your main source is S4 and SAP related sources, go for BW4HANA always as a thumb rule. But in the companies, there are many companies which don't have S4, but they have DB2 based data source system. They have SQL Server based source system. They have Oracle based source system. If you have non-SAP source systems, native HANA can be better in many ways than BW4HANA. But if you have SAP based source systems, then BW4HANA is your best friend. Why? Because SAP has invested 20 years and they have given you standard extractors. Please use those standard extractors and your hundreds of hours of effort in native HANA. Because I have worked on both the sides. Okay, my current client has native HANA, they don't have BW. What we had to do, we had to get all the tables from S4, we had to join them in calculation view, and then we had to create the report, one CV on top of the other, and then a third one on top of the other. Like that, there was a CV hierarchy, and then we gave it to the business. So we had to know how those tables are joined. What is the business rule to join the tables? Whereas in BW, you don't have to do all that. So that's the summary.
You mean to say if we are going for native HANA, I mean, we will be going for native HANA when there is non-SAP source systems are there. But let's say where we are going to create all these native HANA models, will that be in ECC, which is lying on HANA database?
No.
Are we going to create the modeling there, or there will be a separate box for reporting purpose only with the database as HANA?
Okay, so if your if you're talking about S4, which is sitting on top of the HANA database, that database, right?
No, if I'm talking about S4 with the underlying HANA database,
yes,
then we can create all these native HANA concepts there without any issue. Right?
You can.
Yeah.
Although,
let's say it is not S4 HANA. It's a ECC on HANA database.
Okay. So if it is ECC on HANA, and you have a decision to make whether I should use the HANA database which is sitting under the ECC, or should I install a separate native HANA server where I will extract the data. Again, the decision will depend on. I got your point. The decision will lie in the fact that, is that your only source? If that is your only source, your ECC on HANA is your only source, yes, you can use the native HANA concept, you can use calculation views, and you can do whatever you want to do. Again, performance will degrade after a certain point of time. Okay, initially your customer might be happy, but later on, I'm telling you, they will be there will be performance degradation. And secondly, if there are multiple sources, not just your ECC, you have your Oracle, you have your SQL, you have your PeopleSoft, you have your SuccessFactors, blah blah blah. You should never connect them to your ECC. You should always have a separate box.
Okay, Dad, what about inventory management, Dad? What about inventory management? Like, are you going to explain the differences between the older versions and the newer?
Yeah, thank you for bringing that up, actually. Let me show you the code structure. In the code structure, if you see, this have already been shared with you guys. There is something called inventory handling in BW4HANA. Okay, I have dedicated a session for inventory handling because inventory handling has changed in BW4HANA compared to BW on HANA. So I'm going to explain that with a use case. We are going to do that in the system.
What about different value maps like other SD and do you use that in your examples on while teaching?
No, Debo, actually, when we say inventory, like, still it's part of LO Cockpit, right? Tool-less based objects, right? So
no, I'm talking about BW handling. See, yes, in the source system, it is same. 03BX, 03BF, 03UM is the same.
BF,
right? But I'm talking about in BW, the way the record type, there's a very important concept called record type in inventory handling in BW side, right? Okay. That has changed. The way the data is created, generated, that has changed in BW4HANA compared to BW on HANA.
Okay, so no, basically how this two extractors works in a way is like, getting initialization BX4, then with the BF4, we calculate debit and credit in order to find the inventory, right, as of today. So the whole concept has been changed.
No. You are misinterpreting me. So the functional concept is same, right? Okay. BX will give you the initial balance, right? Yep. BF will give you the movements, credit and debit.
Material movement, credit and debit. Yep.
Yeah, and UM will give you revaluations. That stays the same. Nothing has changed there.
Okay.
Although BX is not mandatory, by the way, you can just do with BF and UM. If sometimes when BX takes time for setup table filling, we just go for BF and UM, and that also can do the trick. But what I'm saying is, in BW there is a special way to store the data.
Okay.
And if you don't know how it was there in previous version, I'm going to explain that. In BW4, that special way of storing the data has changed. Okay. There is something called validity table in BW that has changed. There is something called record type 012. That concept has changed a little bit. So all that I will explain.
Okay, got it. And Debo, like beyond going over the technical questions, so this session recording that you will share with everyone, right?
That's right. So every session recording will be shared, but not downloadable. Okay. Please keep this in mind. You cannot download the recording. You can access the recording for the lifetime. For your entire lifetime, you will be able to access it on YouTube. On YouTube, I'm going to upload it and I'm going to give you the access to view only. You cannot download that.
Got it. And the timing is going to be the same, right? For me, like I really want to hear from the session. I want to be part of it. But for me, the challenge is the timing. Okay, 10 to 12 EST AM. I live in Pennsylvania, so for me also EST. So if in case sometime if any of the participant not able to join, what kind of recommendation that you have? Can we able to reach out to you separately for any questions? What kind of communication mode that you prefer to reach out to you out of the session time? All this I want to check with you.
Yeah, so what I'll do is, if you're not able to access the live recording, live training, you can always access the recording, which I'm going to share, right? And if you have questions on that recording, send me an email. I will share the email address with all of you.
Okay.
You send me an email, and then I will answer whenever I get some time. I'll definitely try to answer as soon as possible. Okay. And that's how we'll communicate if you're not able to join the live sessions.
Okay, what days and what are the timings for this course?
Yep, good question. Okay, so I'll tell you the timing. These are the timing. There you go. So we have weekends only. This is weekends only. Saturday 10 to 12 EST Canada time, Toronto Canada time. Sunday same timing 10 to 12. In India timing it is 7:30 to 9:30 p.m. Saturday same time on Sunday. UTC European time is 3 to 5 in the evening, Saturday, Sunday. But Australian time is very odd. So that's why I've kept it in orange. 12 midnight to 2 a.m. This is very difficult for people to join. I completely understand. So those guys, they can choose. Either they, don't go for this training if you are not suitable, or if you are okay by just accessing the recording and asking me the questions later on, then you can join that.
And so, also the cost-wise, like how much is it?
Yeah, just now I checked the server. I have a version of BW core with release 100.
100 is 1.0. That is not 2.0. Okay. Anything starting with 1 is BW4HANA 1.0, not 2.0.
Okay.
Yeah. So, so with this course, can you claim that you pretty much cover everything for the BW4HANA 2.0 certification?
Yes, for certification point of view, I will cover everything. But if you ask me everything in BW4HANA, no, I cannot cover in 6 weeks everything possible in BW4HANA. But I can tell you that if you sincerely follow the exercises and assignment I'm going to give you, if you sincerely do that, you are going to clear these 2 certifications, anyone, whatever you take.
Okay.
And what's the cost for this course? I mean, are you going to disclose that here, or do we have to contact you?
No, I'll not disclose it here. Send me an email separately on my email address, devanshu.mukherjee@gmail.com, and I will tell you the details on the price.
Okay.
I have one question.
Sorry, your voice is muffled.
Yeah, Devanshu, Sumit here. Actually, I have one question. Suppose my client has BW on HANA 7.5.
Okay.
And suppose what is a business scenario we can say, or business value to a company or client to upgrade to BW4HANA?
As I showed you the difference, first you have to answer that question, you have to know the difference between BW on HANA 7.5 and BW4HANA 1.0 or 2.0, whatever. First is that you cannot use Cockpit. So if you want to use web-based monitoring and administration, which is way easier than GUI-based, you have to upgrade for BW4HANA. Second is that all your modifications like AMDP-based transformations, CDS view-based extractions, if you want to do that, you have to go for BW4HANA because the integration is much better than 7.5 compared to BW4HANA.
Okay, but Devanshu, I think in ODP based, even we can create CDS based extractors on 7.5 on HANA.
You can, absolutely you can. What I'm saying is, in CDS, when you start using CDS, you're not going to just say select 1, 2, 3 from table. You want to do expressions, you want to use table functions, you want to use SQL functions, right? As the more complex you go for CDS, you will start getting message saying that feature not supported. Okay, we have done that. If you start with simple 1, 2, 3 from table, yes, your CDS view will work. But if you want to parameterize it, or if you want to go for advanced annotations, Those are only compatible with 2.0, BW4HANA 1.0 and 2.0.
Oh,
Yep.
anything related?
Guys, I think we are way over time. So it's a weekend. We have to respect others' time as well. So unfortunately, I'll have to stop here. It's a hard stop. We are already 36 minutes over time. My apologies if I was not able to answer your question. Please send me email. I'll try to answer them in email. And if you are interested in this training, this starts on 30th May, next week, Saturday. And it's a 6 weeks training, weekends only. And the server access will be provided by the vendor. I have recommended the vendors to you. I'm going to share this recording on the YouTube, which will be free of cost. But from next week onwards, all the recordings will only be shared by two participants who have already paid. One more thing before I disconnect, sorry. The last date of registration, the last deadline of registration is 28th May, 11:59 p.m. So please register before that if you are interested. And then I will talk to you in the next week training session.
Do you have any other payment options other than PayPal? Do you have any other options of paying other than PayPal?
Yeah, you can use Western Union also if you have, or you can use Remitly. Remitly or Western Union also I accept, but preferred is PayPal. If you're not able to use PayPal, Remitly and Western Union is acceptable. Okay, thank you so much, guys, for attending the session.
Bank account, because I'm.
Yeah, go tell me.
You don't have any other Indian bank account, because I'm connected from, and I was wondering if you have any Indian bank account, you can directly put it there and can share the screenshot with you.
No, I'm sorry. I don't have any Indian bank account, unfortunately. If you want to transfer via Indian currency, PayPal will still allow you to do that. You can easily do the conversion.
Okay.
Okay. All right, guys. Thank you so much.